This morning, gold dropped over 200 pips in the first hour. And every part of me wanted to chase it and take sells on gold, but I didn't. And in this video, I'm gonna show you why we let the entire move happen without us, and how waiting patiently for the reversal led to the real, more profitable trade. My name is Pavao, full-time trader and owner of Day Trading University, where we've helped over 20,000 traders understand how to trade the news better. So with that being said, let's get right into this breakdown so that way we can help you understand how to trade the news better. Let's start with adding some context. Over the weekend, the US conducted a military strike which destroyed Iran's nuclear facilities. I was really expecting it to be a tricky day trading, which it was. If we take a look at what the markets did over the weekend, we have this massive gap to the upside on gold. And if we take a look over at something like NASDAQ, we can see that we had a massive gap to the downside. Now, the tricky part comes from we actually recovered a lot of the move. If we take a look over here on gold, we had this spike up, right? And we recovered the entire thing. Same thing with NAS. We had this spike to the downside, this big gap, and we recovered the entire move. So one of my biggest questions going into New York session when the markets open is, do the markets even care anymore about this war or the escalation of the geopolitical tensions? In my opinion, yes. But when you see the markets completely recover the move, which was a new geopolitical catalyst, there's a potential the markets don't give a shit. And during New York session, we were getting headlines like this from, this is Germany. There's no reason for me to criticize the US for their attacks on Iran. From NATO, which says US strikes on Iran were not the violation of international law. This one says the war will end when Israel's objective related to Iran's ballistic missile program are met. Now, I was actually explaining this during the live call, and I was telling everyone that this headline tells me the war isn't over. I don't care that the rest of the world doesn't really care about what the US did. What I care about is the fact that Iran is still pissed. The fact that Iran is pissed means that there might still be some tensions in the markets, which means I have a bias for gold. I want to see market fear. I want to see gold push up. And the reason it's important to understand that the markets are in fear mode or not is because when there's market fear, gold is typically supported to the upside, meaning gold will push up when there's market fear because gold is a safe haven. Now, as a day trader, that's important. I want to know if I'm taking buys or sells. I want to have a bias, because when you have a bias, you can avoid fake outs. The tricky part is actually having the discipline and patience to take these gold buys like I did. So let's break that down right now. Now, when we take a look over at where gold was when the market opened, we had just gotten this first 5-minute closure, which hopefully that didn't fake any of you guys out. Probably shouldn't be entering at the highs below a resistance, taking gold buys, right? So that's too risky for me. I'm not going to be taking this. Then when we play this forward a little bit, we can see gold dropped aggressively. Now, this was very difficult not to want to take these sells. The whole time I was even telling everyone on the live call, like, I have a very firm belief this is going to reverse, and I hope it does. But if it doesn't, I miss the sells because I don't have a reason to be taking this, unless if you just want to chase the volume, which I'm really not a big fan of doing. So here's what I wanted to wait for in order for me to take a trade. Number one, I need to see a reversal in price action. I want to see the bearish price action slow down, right? So if we go back to the charts here, we can see we're getting very, very strong bearish price action. I'm not going to enter buys when it's dropping this aggressively. I want to see kind of, something like this. I want to see momentum pushing in the direction of the trade that I'm taking. For me, that works out very well. So the second thing I like to wait for is usually while I'm trading, the new hourly candle after the market opens is something where I see volume come in on gold often. Not always, but it's just something I wait for. Now, when we play gold a little bit further, we'll see, we actually ended up breaking the support. This, from a technical perspective, I like this for an entry. Once again, it goes against my bias. So I wanted to see if this would be a fake out. Now we'll play this a little more. I actually thought I ended up missing my trade. I think this candle right here, because I saw the fake out and I was like, man, I wish this was at the new hourly candle because I don't want to take this trade yet. It just goes against my rules. We can see on the bottom, it was 10 minutes before the hourly close. Now, thankfully, when we play this out a little more, this is what happened at the hourly candle, and this is where my entry was. We came right back down to the support, we held it, and my entry was on this candle. All of my live trading is recorded for over the last 3.5 years, so we'll find the recording for this trade, and I'll put it right here so you guys can see where my entry actually was. I want to see if gold holds this. I just saw a little bit of volume kicking in when it spiked up, and this is the new hourly. So this was my entry on gold. We can see why I took it, what I was waiting for, and what my bias was. Now, while we were in this trade right here, there was actually another headline that came out. This time was right at the new hourly, right? So if I'll bring up my news feed real quick, which is what I'm always trading live with. And if we go to 9 o'clock, there was a headline that came out, which actually I believe helped the trade even more. This headline right here, I'll see if I can make this a little bigger for us. Iranian retaliation against the US. Forces could come soon. So we got a warning. You can see the time right here, 9:08. I entered the trade at 9:05. Like when this candle was pushing up, 9:04, whatever, A few minutes later, now I was already happy with this trade, but that headline, I'm assuming helped. It can't hurt, right? We got that more geopolitical tensions coming out. But we take a look over at what gold did. Look what the next candle did. Right up to my first TP. So right after that headline came out, thankfully I was already in buys because I was following my bias, and this one played out. So I ended up taking partials here. And when I took the rest of the position, it was right here. It was on this candle. The reason I closed this trade earlier than before it hit my take profit area, like the next resistance zone, is because we have so many things going on in the markets. One headline from Trump, one tweet, one post from any of these people, including like central bank speakers, it can completely reverse the market. So when this pushes up in that one candle, and I've already been holding the trade for an hour, this is a great trade. I'm happy with it. I took about 114, 115 pips in profit. And sure, if I play this out a little more, maybe I could have gotten another 50, 60 pips out of it. Don't care. If there's any lesson to be learned from this, it's like the patience that you have to have in not taking buys when gold is dropping like this. This is aggressive. So when you can look at the markets and you can actually create a bias, especially based on fundamentals, you're like, I have a reason for gold to push up because of this event or this data or inflation or interest rates, whatever it is. It's going to help you avoid taking trades just to take trades. Because one of the biggest lessons that you see here is when we take a look over at the chart, it's going to be like, this is extremely difficult not to take these sells, right? But having the bias, we can see obviously which one was the bigger move. Yes, this is hard to ignore, but I understand that if I take this, it's just as risky entering, like taking this trade here, even though yes, it looks good after the fact, it's just as risky as entering down here when it breaks support. If anything, this is better because it held support and then broke support. That's a better breakout trade in my opinion than just randomly taking a bunch of bearish candles to the downside, at least without reasons. I'll take breakout trades with volume all day if there's something causing gold to drop. And for me, something that would have been causing gold to drop would be like geopolitical tensions de-escalating. If we saw some headlines about Iran wanting to negotiate, whatever like that, yes, I'd be completely happy taking these sells. Now that didn't happen. If anything, I was just showing you a bunch of headlines of the inverse happening. I hope this video is helpful for any of you guys trying to trade gold. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below because I'm always checking, and I'll see you guys in the next trade breakdown tomorrow.